Yes, I have. Thank you very much. Look, I don't want to take a lot of time because we've got many people who I think have got very brilliant ideas. I just wanted to pose two simple questions to my brother, Mr. Mun. MDC Alliance members who have chosen to declare their allegiance to the MDC Alliance automatically expelled themselves from the MDCT. My question is, why then has it taken the MDCT to act in stages, recalling 6 MPs there, recalling 7 MPs there, recalling a few councillors here, a few councillors there? Do they not know that all these MPs and all these councillors, because they are members of the MDC Alliance, have chosen to align themselves with the MDC Alliance? Why are they doing it in stages? They are doing it in stages because it's political. And this is why I'm saying that it's the weaponization of the law. They could easily have gone to the Speaker of Parliament and to the President of the Senate and to the Minister of Local Government and said all these MPs and councillors who belong to the MDC Alliance have ceased to become members of the MDCT by virtue of their allegiance to the MDC Alliance, and therefore we are now recalling them. But instead they are doing so in a very staged process, which is part of what I refer to as the weaponization and abuse of the law. Second is the issue of what he talks about, the MDC Alliance constitutive document. That is an internal matter within the MDC Alliance itself. The Speaker of Parliament does not have a quasi-judicial role, but if he accepts that the Speaker of Parliament has a quasi-judicial role to carry out a factual inquiry into the internal matters of a party, then of course it changes the whole argument, because it says that these MPs should have been given a fair hearing by the Speaker before they were recalled. But he did not do that. He simply accepted what he had been given by the MDCT in order to...
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Alex.
Okay.
Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Yes. Now, Alex...
Very briefly, Treasurer.
Very briefly, Alex makes a point that these MPs are being recalled in stages. Yes, because we are dealing with these people on a case-by-case basis. We rely on evidence that is before us. And before we get that evidence, we cannot just recall people. So we recalled people on the basis of the evidence as it manifested itself. We looked at this on a case-by-case basis. You will find that those who were recalled first have documents which they signed before the courts of law. But what is important is that the MDC Alliance has a constitutive document, which is not a private document. It is a public document, the MDC Alliance Agreement, that nobody wants to talk about. And that Alliance Agreement says that it is a pre-election pact, it is a post-election coalition agreement. It goes on to say that each political party retains its individual identity and autonomy. That is Section 2. Section 3 goes on to say that each political party will be given a quota of MPs or councillors to fill under the alliance. And then it goes to say in clause 4.1.7 that each of the political parties has the right to recall its members of parliament. So the MDC Alliance was not a political party in the convention at the time of the election. Rang number 2, they ceased to belong to the MDCT. Now, Alex says the MDC Alliance, the MDC Alliance as opposed to the MDC Alliance Party. He should have listened to David Coltart. David Coltart said in one of his tweets that the MDC Alliance had been formed as a political party in May 2019. And then in 2020, we had the MDC Alliance producing a constitution in June of 2020. If we go by what Coltart says, then the MDC Alliance Party did not compete in the elections because it was formed at Guero, according to David Coltart. And if we go by its constitution produced in 2020, it was formed in 2020. These MPs belonged to the MDCT. They were subjected to due process in terms of the constitution of the MDC.
We'll come back to you. I think it's less about parties than about the right of the voter that we were trying to look at.